What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to JPlaysKeys. Been a while since I talked to everybody. Figured I'd start doing a couple of videos on what I call musicianship, right? And how I define musicianship is really three things. It's how you carry yourself as a musician. It's how well you support the goals and ideals of the organization you're playing for, and also just general professionalism. Are you on time? Are you dressed for the job? And are you competent? Do you know the songs when you show up? And all of that good stuff. So I think I did a lot of time doing videos about, hey, here's how you play this song, here's how you play that song, but I hadn't really spent a lot of time on talking about the next step. Like after I'm good at playing songs, how do I be the best musician that I can be for the place that I'm serving at in any particular time? And it's got a lot to do with musicianship. It's more than just being able to play a song. And so, as you see what I have on the screen here, I'm going to go through a question that comes up a lot, which is, should musicians, stay in place during the entire service? And as you know, depending on what church you're playing at or what organization you're with, you know, there may be a practice of, after praise and worship or after the preacher starts preaching, musicians kind of go down and go do their thing, and then you come back up at altar call. I don't think there is a definite yes or no answer to this in any to go across all churches and all organizations, but I do want to look at what happens here with Bishop Paul Morton and give a couple of pointers from the musicianship perspective that probably could make this interaction a little bit smoother, and and there's probably some lessons that we all as musicians can take from this little clip here. Okay, so this is not to make light of something between the preacher and the musicians. As you guys know, there's always some times where we have to kind of come back and get an understanding. But this is just to say, hey, let's look at the situation and see if there's anything we might be able to learn and take away. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start playing the clip, and I'll stop it here and there to talk and give some pointers from my perspective. And please feel free to go in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this topic, and also let me know any topics you want me to cover in the future. All right, let's do it.
That's why we got to pray. There is too much in the Bible that tells us that these things are happening over and over again. And what are we going to do about the things that are happening?
Okay, so what you see right here, he's just preaching, right? He's in the middle towards the end of his sermon, but there's nothing really going on that tells you there's any role for a musician right now. It seems like he's kind of in a teaching tone, but that's going to change, and I'll talk about that in a second.
Happening over and over again. The Bible, then and now. There may be one.
All right, so what just happened right there in the last 5 seconds of that clip? You saw that the preacher's tone kind of changed, and you also see him looking back, right? So I'll talk about both of those. As that tone is changing, you know that he's kind of winding down what he's going to say. And typically, if you're at a place for a couple of weeks, you'll start knowing here are the keys to whenever the preacher's about to transition from preaching to altar call, and I need to be up there. Sorry about that. And I need to be up there playing. Right. So this is one. So he might do the look back thing. Some preachers tend to close their Bible. Some take off their glasses. Some move to a certain place on the stage or on the pulpit. But, you got as a musician being attentive. And one of my biggest things is making sure that the service flows. That's your main job. Not even playing the songs, make sure it flows. Right when he says the Bible then and now, and he looks back and you heard him kind of say there may be one, right there should be music playing. Right. So that he doesn't have to look back. He's probably looking back because he's like, where are my musicians? Right. Because he wants that music to start right then and there. This stuff is probably, televised. It's probably going on the radio. There's probably a lot of people there. Like he wants things to go a certain way. So if you've been there for a while, you should be kind of attentive to that. So let's see what happens next.
And you're here without Jesus Christ in your life.
Sorry, I had to interrupt him one more time. You see, he looked back again. His whole head is turned all the way around. Look, I can guarantee you there's no choir back there. There's no audience members back there. He is looking for his musicians. And I got to tell you, especially if you're on the keys or on the organ, I don't care what the drummer's doing, what the bass player's doing. You probably should be in position, if he's going to be looking back like that, he probably has an expectation that you're already there, right? So that's kind of a distraction. We don't ever want to be a distraction. So let's see what happens.
What must I do to be saved? Just believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you shall be saved. There's decision.
All right. So right here, you see our musician, poor guy, because he's about to get talked to a little bit, is just now walking. It sounded like Bishop Morton was kind of stalling a little bit, like he was kind of just saying, repeating himself a little bit because he's waiting for that music to start to set the atmosphere. And I don't know where this young man was coming from, but he was not close to the stage. And I know that some places are bigger, right? And so it's like harder for you to get back to the music if you've gone out. Some places do have a door on either side of the stage. It just looks kind of weird. I can't tell what the setup is here, but whatever it is, you want to make sure you can get back there pretty quickly. If you do leave your post, you want to be able to get back up there pretty quickly. The other part I'll say is, you know, if you know that there's cameras and you know that the space is kind of big, one thing some denominations do not like you to walk behind that pulpit. So there's a couple of things here where, again, I'm not in that church and I don't know what they're going through or what their setup is, but there's a couple of no-nos happening here right now. Walking behind the pulpit, again, that might be the only way you can get there, but I always try to avoid that, and especially walking directly behind the speaker, I try to go around the side or something like that. But again, that might not be possible, and sometimes if that's not possible, that's a church where you kind of got to sit up there, throughout the whole service, just so you don't be a distraction. That might be a reason why, right? Okay, so let's keep going.
That you need to make in your life.
Oh,
All of you musicians, y'all stay in while I'm teaching. Y'all need the word. Where y'all going? What you doing?
okay, so I'm thinking this might be a Wednesday service because I saw the bass player here. He was wearing sweatpants. The bishop's wearing a looks like a tracksuit. So they're dressed kind of casual. So this might be not their main musicians, right? They might be, some churches have different ones on Wednesday and Sunday, so that might be why this is happening. Also, some larger churches have their Wednesday night service in a different place than their Sunday. And that, again, I'm just speculating here, so that might be why they're having to walk behind the pulpit, walking the camera a little bit. Not making excuses, just saying, hey, here's some things that I've seen in the past. Right now, his head is turned all the way back. Where I pause it, he is talking to the musicians. All right, so this is the thing. I don't care what it is. It's my responsibility as a musician not to be a distraction. So what's happened here? They've distracted everything. They distracted the preacher, and everyone that's out there in that congregation is distracted. Someone who might be wanting to get saved and was having second thoughts, thinking that maybe they're intimidated by the people or the pastor or something like that. They might not come up and get saved because they had that distraction. Like, it's that serious, right? And again, not to pick on any one person. I'm just saying, hey, as we go throughout our lives as musicians, these are some things to think about. So I would have wanted it to be my responsibility to make sure that didn't happen. So, and if I'm in this place, I'm probably, to answer the question, I'm probably staying up the whole time, right? And I know it's inconvenient and all that, but I'm probably just going to stay at the organ, stay at the piano my entire service, just so I don't have to walk through here and all that, until I can find a way to rearrange stuff or something so I can kind of slip out the side. But this seems like a place you might want to stay up, right? And we'll talk about what Bishop Morton says to them after he gets done, because he ain't done.
I don't like that. This ain't no show. We are all growing in the Lord. Don't do that no more. If you're accepting Jesus Christ.
All right. So he said, this ain't no show. I don't like that. Don't do that no more. Right. So what I'm thinking here is that, he might have said that before in the past. It looks like something that, you got to know certain things are a problem for the preacher or the deacons that you're playing for. Some folks, it's just one of those things, right? So One thing that has been talked about in this video, because I think it's been out for a while, is like the tone that the man of God took when he was talking to those individuals. I'll say, like, I didn't love it, but at the same time, it's his house, right? And he has to make it clear how he wants things to operate. I would have preferred, that to kind of let that slide, and he let the minister of music know, or the deacon in charge of music know, and then kind of handle it, quieter that way. But hey, this is how it happened. He felt it needed to be addressed right then and there. So when we talk about should a musician stay the entire service in place, I'll say, man, like what we saw right there, if there's no way for you to get back to your instrument without being a distraction, you need to stay in place. If the preacher or deacons or whoever you're working for has said, I want you to stay in place, stay in place. Also, if you leave your post, right? Because I mean, I have kids, right? So I might go sit with my wife and my kids during the service. You need to be able to get back up there immediately when called upon, or when you need to. Also, um, I'd say if you do leave, kind of at least be in the service, because I know, when I was in college, we used to be, in the back. We go to Burger King, we do all kind of stuff, after praise and worship is done, and kind of try to get back right in time for the sermon to be ending. You don't want to do that, even though I did it for like 5 years. That's kind of how you want to roll. So I think it's up to you. I don't think there is a real answer, but leave what you think in the comments, and let's talk about it. But I think it depends on where you're at, how conspicuous you're going to be when you go back, and what the rules are for your organization. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you some little tidbits to think about. And like I said, in the comments, let me know what other topics you want me to cover about musicianship in future videos here on JPlaysKeys. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, share, and we'll see you in the next video. Be blessed.